Seeing that Pernell Roberts' departure from Bonanza remains a subject of interest, many wonder what truly motivated his decision to leave such a successful show. While the series offered him fame and financial security, Roberts often expressed dissatisfaction with the show's limited emotional scope and lack of meaningful storytelling. He felt that the scripts did not match his desire for more substance and depth, which caused ongoing frustration. Beyond his professional reasons, rumors circulated about his strong personal beliefs, particularly his stance on social issues, and how he believed Hollywood failed to address or respect these values. Roberts also had a reputation for being fiercely independent and outspoken, which sometimes clashed with the studio's expectations and the show's producers. Off-camera, he maintained friendships with some cast members, yet tensions arose when he voiced his opinions about the industry's shortcomings. Despite leaving the series, Roberts continued to pursue meaningful roles that aligned with his principles, such as stage work and television projects outside of the Western genre. His later years were marked by a focus on family and personal convictions that defined his life as much as his career choices. Ultimately, his death came after a long battle with illness, leaving behind a legacy rooted in integrity and a refusal to compromise. Before television made Pernell Roberts a household name, he was already an artist with many talents, especially in music. He was a classically trained baritone, which means he had a deep and resonant voice that was perfect for singing. Roberts loved folk music and traditional ballads, and he performed them with emotional sensitivity and skill. During his time on Bonanza, he did something quite rare for a television star. He recorded a folk album called Come All Ye Fair and Tender Ladies. This album is a hidden treasure among Western television memorabilia, and was made when Roberts was very popular on the show. The album features his thoughtful and nuanced interpretations of well-known folk songs, showing his dedication to melody and preserving the traditional American folk sound. Unlike his co-star Lorne Greene, who mostly focused on dramatic storytelling and music, Roberts' recordings reveal his pure love for singing and the folk tradition. His performances in the album and in the bonus Bonanza 4 CD collection stand out for their simple but heartfelt artistry, helping fans see a different side of him. These musical works weren't just a hobby or side project. They came from his lifelong passion for the arts. His music was made long before Hollywood, and it gives a glimpse of the man behind the character, a talented artist who appreciated and mastered the true spirit of American folk music. Before he became famous as Adam Cartwright on Bonanza, Pernell Roberts had built a strong foundation through classical theater work, which deeply influenced his ideas about acting and artistic standards. He wasn't just a TV star. He was a well-trained stage performer with extensive experience in major works by Shakespeare and other classic writers. Roberts performed in well-known productions like Twelfth Night, The Merchant of Venice, and The Taming of the Shrew, showcasing his ability to handle complex language and characters. Sometimes he also took part in musical and operatic shows, where singing and timing were as essential as acting. His background was diverse, including singing operas and even participating in ballet performances, all of which demanded discipline, subtlety, and a high level of artistry. This rich theatrical background gave Roberts a clear sense of what true artistic integrity meant, making him view television, especially network westerns, as shallow and commercialized. He often found the scripts and stories repetitive and uninspiring, feeling that they didn't challenge actors or captivate audiences intellectually or emotionally. For him, it wasn't just about the lines or the plots, but about the medium's failure to realize its artistic potential. He longed for roles and projects that pushed creative boundaries and offered real depth. Roberts was outspoken about his dissatisfaction with Bonanza, criticizing it for not providing the kinds of material that could truly challenge or engage both actors and viewers. This disillusionment and desire for more meaningful work eventually led him to leave the show, seeking opportunities that matched his standards for quality and artistic fulfillment. Leaving behind the glitz and glamour of Hollywood, Pernell Roberts achieved what many actors dream of but few truly attain. He reached a level of fame that brought him widespread recognition, especially through his starring role on the popular television series Bonanza. During the peak of his time on the show, he earned as much as $10,000 for each episode, which was a significant amount of money back then. Over the years, he accumulated a fortune estimated at around $10 million, a clear sign of his financial success. Despite all this wealth and fame, Roberts never saw money as the ultimate measure of success. Instead, he saw it as just one part of his career. He often voiced his dissatisfaction with the creative compromises that television networks and studios demanded, which often meant watering down artistic quality to please ratings or advertisers. Roberts was known for turning down lucrative offers and guest appearances that didn't meet his personal standards. He preferred to wait for roles that aligned with his core values and beliefs. Many in the industry considered him difficult or ungrateful because of these choices. But for Roberts, integrity was more important than fitting in or making as much money as possible. He firmly believed that acting should serve a higher purpose, helping people understand life better instead of just entertaining or selling products during commercial breaks. His decision to leave Bonanza was not driven by ego or a desire for more fame or money. It was about staying true to himself and refusing to be part of a system that prioritized ratings over quality. Roberts knew that stepping away from the show might reduce his acting opportunities and limit his exposure to the public, but he felt it was a small price to pay for maintaining his artistic integrity. In a world where many compromise for material gain, PERNELL Roberts stood as a man who valued his creative and moral principles far more than wealth or fame. Taking into account PERNELL Roberts' civil rights commitment reveals a man whose actions went far beyond his career as an actor. During a time when America was facing intense racial struggles, Roberts did not stay silent or simply perform in shows. Instead, he chose to stand up publicly for social justice. In 1965, at a crucial moment in history, he participated in the marches from Selma to Montgomery, marching with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and others who fought for voting rights and racial equality. This marked him as one of the few celebrities willing to risk their careers to show support for meaningful change. His belief in fairness and justice led him to use his platform to call out the entertainment industry's shortcomings. He spoke out against the unfair casting practices that often saw white actors playing Native American roles, which he saw as both disrespectful and lazy. Roberts challenged networks like NBC for their lack of diversity, openly criticizing the failure to portray minorities accurately and fairly. His protests often put him at odds with those in power, but his sense of integrity remained strong. Beyond protests and interviews, Roberts believed that stories should accurately reflect all kinds of people and their experiences. For him, fighting racial injustice was part of his duty as an artist because he thought that storytelling could help change perceptions and promote equality. His activism was deeply intertwined with his identity, making him a star not just for his talent, but for his courage and principles, even if it meant standing alone in the face of opposition. After joining Bonanza, PERNELL Roberts wanted to push for on-screen diversity and challenge the usual ways stories were told. He didn't just want his character, Adam Cartwright, to show progressive values. He aimed to bring those values into the very stories themselves. One of his most ambitious ideas was a storyline where Adam would fall in love with a Native American woman and marry her. Roberts believed this would be a powerful way to break racial stereotypes that were common on television at the time. He also suggested that the role of the Native American woman be played by a black actress, which was a very bold idea during the early 1960s, when interracial relationships were hardly shown on TV. Roberts thought this could help viewers see love beyond race and social division, offering a meaningful message of acceptance and equality. But the studio executives quickly rejected his ideas. They feared that showing interracial relationships might scare away viewers and hurt the show's popularity. Roberts was deeply frustrated by this, as he saw it as a missed chance to create change. To him, the rejection wasn't just about the story. It was about saying no to progress and diversity, sticking to old stereotypes instead of evolving. This disagreement created a larger rift between Roberts and the show's producers, and made him more disillusioned with Bonanza and mainstream TV. Still, he refused to stay silent. He kept speaking out about what he believed television should stand for, even if it meant risking his career or facing criticism. Roberts' efforts showed his desire to use his platform to fight for better representation and to challenge the social norms of his time, valuing progress over comfort in the entertainment industry. But as the years went on, PERNELL Roberts' frustration with how Bonanza portrayed family relationships grew more intense. He saw the show's depiction of the Cartwright family as overly simple and often not true to real life. While audiences loved the warm and cooperative scenes on the Ponderosa, Roberts believed that the show missed the mark in showing how complex family dynamics can really be. He thought that the relationships between Ben Cartwright and his sons and the sons among themselves were portrayed as too perfect, with the sons always seeking approval from their father and rarely standing up for themselves. Roberts felt this made the characters seem like obedient children, rather than mature men with real feelings and struggles. He believed that television should do more than entertain. It should show the truth about human nature and moral choices. To him, making the sons constantly defer to Ben reduced them to one-dimensional figures and removed the chances for meaningful character growth. He wanted stories where the sons would question their father's decisions, show their independence, or face real moral conflicts. These elements would have made the show deeper and more real. His criticism was not about ego, but a desire for honest storytelling that reflected life more accurately. When the producers did not change the storylines, his dissatisfaction grew. His worries also highlighted a larger issue in TV, whether shows should aim for simple entertainment or more realistic storytelling. Pernell Roberts found himself increasingly alone in fighting for characters that acted and felt like true human beings rather than idealized types. Meanwhile, Pernell Roberts' time on Bonanza deepened his disillusionment with television as a whole. As a trained actor with a background in Shakespearean theater, he found the rigid structure of episodic TV, especially the formulaic Western genre, increasingly stifling and frustrating. In interviews, Roberts did not shy away from sharing his feelings. He once compared his role as Adam Cartwright to a world-class violinist playing in a pop orchestra, a metaphor that vividly expressed his sense that his talents and artistic voice were being limited. He felt that the role afforded him neither the dramatic growth nor the emotional complexity he longed for as an actor. Despite the show's enormous success and popularity, Roberts believed it lacked depth and failed to develop its characters meaningfully. He argued that the scripts often relied on recycled moral lessons that were superficial, and characters were reduced to simple archetypes rather than real, evolving people. Over time, he softened his criticisms, perhaps out of respect for the show's fans and legacy, but he never changed his fundamental view that Bonanza was constrained and unchallenging. He sensed that television could push boundaries and tell richer stories, but felt the medium was settling for comfort rather than excellence. His outspoken honesty made him stand out in Hollywood. He refused to accept mediocrity just because it was profitable or popular. Instead, Roberts believed in the importance of artistic integrity and was willing to speak out, even if it risked alienating some in the industry. His critique was not just about Bonanza, but about the potential of television to be something much greater, a vision he felt was often missed because of a focus on ratings over substance. Because of his mounting frustrations with the show's direction and his desire for more meaningful acting challenges, Pernell Roberts made a decision that shocked many. He chose to leave Bonanza just before the start of the 7th season, despite the fact that the show was incredibly popular and provided him with financial security. To fans and those in the television industry, his departure seemed sudden and difficult to understand, especially since Roberts was at the height of his fame and loving the success it brought. However, for Roberts, leaving was about more than just personal gain. It was about staying true to his beliefs as an actor. He felt that continuing to portray Adam Cartwright under the conditions on the show would have gone against his sense of artistic integrity. His dissatisfaction was rooted in his view of television as a powerful cultural influence. He believed that stories told on television should have depth and honesty, and he refused to be part of narratives he found shallow or false. Sacrificing the comfort of a steady job and the admiration of a large audience, Roberts prioritized his integrity and future as an artist. His departure left some cast members puzzled, with many struggling to understand his reasons. Still, he remained firm in his conviction. His choice became a defining moment in his life and career, making clear that sometimes true artistry requires sacrifice and stepping away from fame to pursue more authentic work. During his time on Bonanza, Pernell Roberts faced a critical moment where his personal convictions clashed with the practical demands of his career. Lorne Greene, who played Ben Cartwright and projected a calm, paternal presence both on and off-screen, often took on a mentoring role for Roberts. Greene, having experienced the unpredictable nature of the acting industry himself, advised Roberts to consider staying with the show longer. Greene believed that remaining on Bonanza for a few more seasons would help stabilize Roberts's financial situation and give him the resources to pursue his true artistic goals. He suggested that, with a solid financial base, Roberts could eventually step away to establish his own repertory theater or start independent stage projects, which were closer to his heart. Greene's perspective was grounded in a belief that enduring a bit longer on a popular show might ultimately serve Roberts's long-term interests by providing a secure platform for creative freedom later. However, Roberts felt differently. He was deeply committed to his artistic integrity and believed that staying in a role he found creatively limiting would compromise his sense of self as an artist. For him, the idea of sacrificing his artistic honesty for financial gain was unacceptable. While he respected Green's wisdom and cared about the stability the advice could bring, Roberts made a firm decision to leave Bonanza. To him, walking away was not a rejection but a stand for his personal artistic values. He saw his exit as an act of independence, a way to stay true to himself rather than compromise his vision of art and purpose. This moment between Green and Roberts exemplified a broader dilemma faced by many actors choosing between a secure, long-term opportunity that might limit creative expression and a more uncertain path driven by passion and authenticity. From the beginning, Pernell Roberts's relationship with Michael Landon on and off the set of Bonanza has been a topic filled with intrigue and speculation. On the surface, the differences between the two seemed obvious. Landon, with his boundless energy and rising fame as Little Joe, appeared to be the more charismatic and outgoing personality, while Roberts, portraying the brooding and introspective Adam Cartwright, seemed reserved and thoughtful. Their contrasting personalities often led fans and TV critics to assume there was tension or even rivalry. In 1973, during a humorous guest appearance on The Tonight Show, Landon joked that he couldn't remember exactly when Roberts had left the series, a statement that many took as an indication of a strained or distant relationship. However, those who knew the two men more deeply painted a markedly different picture. Betty Indico, a co-star and close colleague, described their relationship as brotherly and full of warmth, emphasizing that there was more affection and mutual respect than any rumor suggested. She noted that their bond was built on a shared understanding of the pressures that come with fame and success. Despite their different philosophies, Landon was open to embracing the television industry as a whole, eventually taking on roles behind the scenes as a writer, producer, and director. Roberts, on the other hand, remained critical of some aspects of television's limitations, but never expressed hostility toward his colleagues publicly. In fact, Roberts never spoke badly of Landon in public, and the respect between them seemed genuine and rooted in a long-standing familiarity. Behind the headlines and public personas, their relationship reflected a complex mixture of admiration, disagreement, and a deep, enduring connection that went far beyond the simple narrative of stars in conflict. After many years had passed since Pernell Roberts left the cast of Bonanza, a surprising and emotional moment unfolded that captured the hearts of fans and those who knew him alike. During his time on the medical drama Trapper John M.D., where he starred in the 1980s, Roberts experienced a moment that revealed a different side of him, one filled with warmth and genuine emotion. On set, unexpectedly, Michael Landon, his former co-star and close friend during the years of Bonanza, arrived for a surprise visit. Without hesitation, Landon approached Roberts and wrapped him in a sincere, heartfelt embrace. This gesture was spontaneous, authentic, and powerful, instantly dismantling the long-standing stories and assumptions that there was still any bitterness or lingering resentment between them. The embrace spoke volumes, showing that their connection had endured through the years filled with rumors and media speculation. It was a moment that symbolized more than just reunion. It was a public affirmation that the bond they shared as actors and friends had survived time, distance, and the differences that sometimes come with careers in Hollywood. For fans who had always wondered if the camaraderie seen among the Cartwright family extended beyond their roles, this rare display of real affection was deeply touching, offering a glimpse into the genuine relationships behind the scenes. It also revealed a side of Roberts rarely seen, a man who, despite often keeping his feelings guarded in public, truly valued the friendships and connections formed during the early days of his acting career on Bonanza. His reaction, and Landon's unexpected visit, became a testament to the enduring power of friendship, proving that sometimes the strongest bonds are not defined solely by the scripts we perform, but by the heartfelt moments we share off camera. As the years passed, and the beloved original cast members of Bonanza began to fade from the public stage, Pernell Roberts remained, quietly, respectfully, at the edge of the spotlight. He became the last surviving core member of the original cast, a solitary torchbearer for a show that had defined an era of American television. But Roberts did not allow professional disagreements or creative frustrations to prevent him from honoring those he had once worked beside. He attended the funeral of Dan Blocker in 1972, a man known for his gentle spirit and deep camaraderie with the cast. In 1987, he paid his final respects to Lorne Greene, the man who had once counseled him to stay the course, and whose fatherly persona extended well beyond the Ponderosa. And in 1991, Roberts also attended the funeral of Michael Landon, who had died tragically young after a highly publicized battle with cancer. These quiet acts of remembrance painted a portrait of a man who, despite his sharp criticisms of the industry and the show that made him famous, never lost his humanity or his sense of loyalty to those he had shared the journey with. His presence at these memorials wasn't just symbolic, it was deeply personal. He may have been the most distant and rebellious of the Cartwright sons, but in the end, he was also the one who remained, bearing witness to the end of an era and carrying the memory of Bonanza with a sense of solemn dignity. His survival marked him not only as a witness to television history, but as its final, silent custodian. Although Pernell Roberts once expressed strong criticism of television, describing it as a medium that often prioritized formula over depth and profit over purpose, he made a surprising return to the small screen in the late 1970s. This comeback came with his lead role in Trapper John M.D., a series that was a spin-off from the popular show MASH. On this new show, Roberts played Dr. John McIntyre, a seasoned and somewhat weary chief of surgery working in a busy San Francisco hospital. This role represented a significant change for Roberts, who approached it with a renewed sense of focus and a cautious sense of hope. Unlike his earlier experiences on Bonanza, where he often expressed dissatisfaction, Roberts chose to return to television for reasons beyond money. He stated in interviews that he respected the cast and crew and believed in the stories they were telling, which motivated him to be part of the project. Trapper John M.D. allowed him to delve into more complex and human stories, giving him the opportunity to portray a character molded by years of personal and professional experiences. This was something he longed for during his earlier work in television. The series ran for 7 successful seasons, and Roberts received praise for his performance, which was known for its emotional honesty and gentle intensity. While he never fully let go of his criticisms of the industry, his work on this show suggested he found a way to reconcile his artistic ideals with the realities of television. It demonstrated that, under certain conditions, television could be both a profitable enterprise and a meaningful art form, providing Roberts a chance to explore that balance. Following his years in the public eye, Pernell Roberts' personal life was marked by both love and deep sorrow that shaped much of who he was behind the camera. He married 4 times, each relationship representing different chapters of his life. His first marriage was to Vera Mowry, a professor specializing in theater history. From this marriage, he had his only child, Jonathan Christopher Roberts, a boy who became the central focus of Pernell's life. Though Pernell and Vera eventually divorced, his bond with his son remained strong, and Jonathan was a source of hope and joy. After Vera, Pernell married Judith Lebrecht, then Kara Nack, and later Eleanor Criswell, who was his partner until his death. Despite finding comfort and companionship in these relationships, none could prevent the tragic event that would shake his world. In 1989, his son Jonathan, at age 38, was killed in a motorcycle accident, a loss that devastated Pernell and cast a long shadow over his life. Those who knew him say he was never the same after losing his son, retreating from the limelight and seeking solace in privacy and the love of Eleanor. For someone who valued honesty and emotional truth, this tragedy was a profound wound that stayed with him, quietly influencing his later years. It revealed a tender and human side of Pernell Roberts, reminding everyone that beyond his roles on screen, he was a father grappling with the pain of losing his child, a heartbreaking chapter that defined the stillness in his later life. After his passing, Pernell Roberts' death marked the end of a significant chapter in television history. On January 24, 2010, at his home in Malibu, California, he succumbed to a long battle with pancreatic cancer at the age of 81. His passing not only closed his personal chapter, but also symbolized the final link to the original cast of Bonanza, the iconic TV Western that made him famous. He was the last surviving member of that cast, standing as a silent sentinel of a bygone era. His quiet presence in his later years often led him to introduce himself with a simple, understated phrase, "Pernell, the last one." Those words carried a heavy weight, acknowledging the passage of time, and his role as the last remnant of the on-screen family he had shared with Dan Blocker, Lorne Greene, and Michael Landon. Roberts' departure from Bonanza had been surrounded by some controversy, but over time, The respect for his integrity and principles grew. He earned admiration not just for his acting prowess, but for his choices after leaving the show. Roles he declined, principles he refused to compromise, and causes he championed without hesitation. His legacy extends beyond his most famous role, emphasizing artistic integrity in an industry often driven by commercial interests. Roberts' body of work was not extensive, but was thoughtfully curated, each role chosen with care. His life and career became a testament to living and working by one's own code, standing firm against the temptations and compromises often found in Hollywood. His influence remains as a reminder that success does not require sacrificing personal values, and his memory continues to inspire those who value authenticity in their craft. Robert's story is a reflection of a man who, despite the pressures of fame, remained true to himself until the very end. From the moment Pernell Roberts left Bonanza, his relationship with the show remained complicated and deepened over the years. He never softened his criticisms of the series, especially about its writing, which he believed lacked intellectual challenge, and did not explore moral complexities. Roberts felt that, despite the show's popularity, it often relied on safe storytelling that avoided confronting life's deeper issues. He saw it as more entertainment than a true reflection of life's moral dilemmas. Yet, as time went on, his feelings softened somewhat. Roberts started to see the show's positive side, acknowledging that it played an important cultural role. It brought families together and provided moral lessons, creating characters who became beloved by millions. He recognized that the show's broad appeal came from its warmth, loyalty, and family values, which resonated with viewers. Roberts also cherished the friendships he built with fellow actors, especially during the early seasons when the show's promise still felt fresh and exciting. Even if he did not find lasting artistic fulfillment on the Ponderosa, he appreciated the platform it gave him, the bonds it fostered, and the fans he connected with. His feelings about Bonanza reflected his personality, honest, layered, and guided by principles. He could critique the show without disowning it, understanding both its flaws and its strengths. In the end, his attitude showed a balance of truth and fairness, and this outlook became a meaningful part of his legacy. Roberts' ability to look back with clarity and grace made him a man who valued honesty and integrity, even in his reflections on a show that shaped his career and his life. After examining the reasons behind Pernell Roberts' departure from Bonanza, it becomes clear that his decision was driven by a combination of personal principles and dissatisfaction with the show's direction. While the series brought him fame and financial rewards, Roberts sought more meaningful storytelling and emotional depth that he felt were missing from the scripts. His strong beliefs about social issues and his desire to stay true to his values also played a significant role, as he often felt that Hollywood did not respect or address those beliefs. His personality was known to be fiercely independent and outspoken, which sometimes created friction with the show's producers and the studio environment. Although he retained friendships with some cast members, his frustration with the industry and his pursuit of roles that reflected his moral convictions led him to step away from Bonanza. After leaving, he focused on work that felt more genuine to him, including stage performances and smaller television projects outside the Western genre, aligning with his desire for artistic integrity. In his later years, Roberts prioritized family and personal principles, choosing a life that reflected his beliefs and values. His legacy remains one of honesty, independence, and a refusal to compromise, traits that defined his career and life until his passing after a long